As the story was told by Samuel Beckett. As the story was told me, I never went near the place during sessions. I asked what place, and a tent was described at length. A small tent, the color of its surroundings. Wearying of this description, I asked, what sessions? And these in their turn were described. Their object, duration, frequency, and harrowing nature. I hope I was not more sensitive than the next man, but finally I had to raise my hand. I lay there, quite still for a time, then asked where I was while all this was going forward. In a hut, was the answer. A small hut, in a grove, some 200 yards away. A distance even the loudest cry could not carry, but must die on the way. This was not so strange as at first sight it sounded, when one considered the stoutness of the canvas and the sheltered situation of the hut among the trees. Indeed, the tent might have been struck where it stood and moved forward 50 yards or so without inconvenience. Lying there with closed eyes, in the silence which followed this information, I began to see the hut, though, unlike the tent, it had not been described to me, but only its situation. It reminded me strongly of a summer house in which, as a child, I used to sit quite still for hours on end on the window seat the whole year round. It had the same 5 log walls, the same colored glass, the same diminutiveness, being not more than 10 feet across, and so low of ceiling that the average man could not have held himself erect in it, though of course there was no such difficulty for the child. At the center, facing the colored panes, stood a small upright wicker chair with armrests, as against the summer house's window seat. I sat there, very straight and still, with my arms along the rests, looking out at the orange light. It must have been shortly after 6. The sessions closing punctually at that hour, for as I watched, a hand appeared in the doorway and held out to me a sheet of writing. I took and read it, then tore it in 4, and put the pieces in the waiting hand to take away. A little later, the whole scene disappeared. As the story was told me, the man succumbed in the end to his ill treatment, though quite old enough at the time to die naturally of old age. I lay there a long time, quite still. Even as a child, I was unusually still, and more so with the passing years, till it must have seemed the story was over. But finally, I asked if I knew exactly what the man, I would like to give his name but cannot, what exactly was required of the man, what it was he would not or could not say. No, was the answer, after some little hesitation. No, I did not know what the poor man was required to say in order to be pardoned, but would have recognized it at once, yes, at a glance, if I had seen it